There are few things in this world that come even close to being as deadly as rabies. Not even Australia's wildlife can compete with the sheer horror of the rabies virus. Once the virus enters the brain, it is safe to assume that you are completely cooked. The virus is essentially 100% fatal once it reaches the brain, with only a microscopically sized handful of people having ever survived rabies without receiving the vaccine. The first of these people is known to be Gianna Geese, who in 2004 was bitten by a bat infected with the rabies virus while at her church. She did not receive the rabies vaccine following this encounter. 3 weeks later, she began to experience symptoms such as double vision and vomiting. Once diagnosed, doctors expected her to be dead in a matter of days. With nothing left to lose, they decided to try an experimental procedure known as the Milwaukee Protocol. This consists of placing the patient in an induced coma, essentially praying that this can allow the immune system to fight off the virus. Along with this, doctors also flooded her body with antiviral drugs. If you think Liver King is bad, you should have seen what they were pumping into Gianna. Miraculously, she survived, and since has led a normal life. Netflix couldn't write this even if they wanted to. Despite this, it is still safe to assume that if rabies gets to your brain, you are already dead, as the Milwaukee Protocol has failed to work on more often than not. So how does rabies actually kill you? Well, it all starts at the initial bite site, where the virus enters the tissue from the saliva of the rabid animal. This is also the reason why rabies patients develop hydrophobia, the fear of water, as intake of water would dilute the saliva, decreasing the virus's chance of entering into the tissue. Once inside, the virus replicates inside muscle tissue located near the bite. During this time, an infected person will not experience any symptoms. This stage usually lasts for a couple of weeks, but has been reported to have lasted multiple years in extreme cases. The virus then makes its way up the peripheral nervous system and into the central nervous system located within the spinal cord. The amount of time this takes will fluctuate based on the location of the bite. A bite in the ankle will take much longer to get here than a bite in the neck. It then ascends the central nervous system into the brain, at which point the infected being doesn't really stand a chance. Rabies causes acute inflammation of the brain, which produces psychosis and violent aggression within the patient. It causes excess salivation and the previously mentioned fear of water. All these factors combined create what in my eyes is the closest thing we might have to the Last of Us zombies in real life. Eventually, the infected succumbs to the virus and dies. There are two types of rabies: furious rabies, the more common of the two, and paralytic rabies, which occurs in about 20% of cases. Paralytic rabies, as the name suggests, gradually immobilizes muscles until the person falls into a deadly coma. Furious rabies, on the other hand, kills you in a matter of days via cardiorespiratory arrest. Those days leading up to death may be worse than the death itself, though. They consist of hallucinations, hyperactivity, a loss of coordination, and a fear of water and fresh air. If this sounds like hell, that's because it essentially is. Despite these potential horrors, there is a simple, easy prevention: the vaccine. If you suspect you may have been bitten by a rabid animal, simply have the vaccine administered before the virus reaches the brain, and you're good to go. In my opinion, rabies is the perfect setup for a zombie apocalypse. A horrible virus that essentially zombifies you, causing you to hunt down others and infect them. However, it is easily preventable if you take a vaccine soon after exposure. And that is why you should not go beefing with rabies. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and if you're still here, I would appreciate it very much if you subscribed to the channel. Have a good day.